Evelyn Hart was one of America's technology executives, leading Meridian Systems from a startup into a billion-dollar cybersecurity company headquartered in Seattle, Washington. Behind the glass towers and quarterly reports, Evelyn faced one problem she could not solve. Her 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, had stopped believing she was good at mathematics. Sophie had always been curious, but complicated equations made her anxious. Evelyn hired tutors, enrolled her in advanced programs, and purchased expensive learning software. Nothing worked. Then Sophie's grades suddenly improved. She solved problems confidently and began asking questions that impressed her teachers. Evelyn had no idea what had changed. The answer appeared when Evelyn returned unexpectedly from a business trip. Walking through the underground parking garage, she noticed lights glowing inside a maintenance room. Through the open door, she saw Sophie sitting beside Dean Mercer, the building's night janitor, while numbers and geometric shapes covered a small whiteboard there. Evelyn stopped in disbelief. Dean wore an old maintenance uniform and held a marker between rough, careful fingers. Sophie laughed as he explained multiplication using examples involving airplane fuel, distance, and time. Evelyn felt embarrassed that she had never realized her daughter was receiving private lessons from him at night. "Sophie," Evelyn said quietly, stepping inside. Her daughter froze. Dean immediately stood and lowered the marker. "I'm sorry, Miss Hart," he said. "She asked me for help. I never meant to interfere." Evelyn studied him. Instead of anger, she felt curiosity. "How did you learn to teach mathematics so well?" Dean hesitated before answering. "I learned to break complicated problems into smaller ones." His explanation sounded simple, but his eyes revealed something different. Evelyn noticed his disciplined posture, controlled movements, and constant awareness of the room. A janitor did not normally carry himself like someone trained for dangerous situations beforehand. The following morning, Evelyn reviewed Dean's employment file. It contained little information. He had worked as a maintenance employee for 18 months, rarely complained, and consistently received excellent evaluations. His history before that was unusually limited. Evelyn became suspicious, but decided not to confront him without evidence or explanation yet. Meanwhile, Meridian Systems faced a serious technical crisis. A new cybersecurity platform designed to protect financial institutions had developed an unexplained flaw. The system occasionally misclassified harmless network activity as malicious, causing major clients to lose confidence. Meridian's engineers had spent 6 weeks investigating the problem without finding its source. Evelyn gathered her top engineering team at Meridian's Seattle headquarters. More than 20 specialists examined thousands of lines of code, system logs, and network patterns. Every proposed solution failed. Investors grew nervous, clients threatened lawsuits, and Evelyn knew another major failure could cost the company hundreds of millions of dollars. That evening, Evelyn stayed late reviewing reports. While walking through the operations floor, she noticed Dean cleaning near engineering. He stopped beside a monitor displaying a network diagram. His eyes remained on the screen. "Why does that connection repeat every 17 minutes?" he asked. An engineer laughed. "That's normal, sir." Dean nodded, but did not move. Evelyn remembered his observation and asked him to explain. He pointed toward 3 supposedly unrelated servers. "They shouldn't communicate at the same interval," he said. "Someone designed that pattern deliberately." The room suddenly became silent. Evelyn asked Dean where he learned security systems there. Dean finally revealed the truth. Before becoming a janitor, he had served for years as a Navy SEAL. His military career ended after an injury during an overseas mission. He had chosen a quiet civilian life afterward, especially because he was raising his young son alone. Evelyn listened without judgment. Dean explained that military training taught him to recognize patterns, identify anomalies, remain calm, and question information that appeared normal. He had never intended to become involved in Meridian's business. He simply noticed something unusual. Evelyn asked whether he could help investigate. Dean agreed, but only if he stayed professional. Working after hours, Dean and two trusted engineers traced the suspicious communications. The pattern led to an internal development server, controlled by Victor Lang, Meridian's vice president of infrastructure. Hidden scripts were transferring proprietary data outside the company. The discovery suggested that someone inside Meridian was deliberately creating system failures. Evelyn was devastated. Victor had worked beside her for 9 years and helped build the company. Yet the evidence was undeniable. Dean advised her not to confront him immediately. "If he knows we're watching, he'll destroy the evidence," he warned. Evelyn trusted Dean and quietly contacted federal authorities that night. Investigators monitored Victor's activity while Meridian strengthened its security controls. Within days, they discovered Victor had secretly sold company information to a competing technology firm. He had also altered the cybersecurity platform to create failures, hoping Meridian's stock would fall before the competitor acquired vulnerable assets at a discounted price. The revelation shook Meridian's leadership. Victor was arrested after investigators obtained sufficient evidence, and the company avoided a potentially catastrophic collapse. Evelyn publicly credited her engineering team, but privately she knew Dean had noticed the first clue when everyone else had overlooked it. His observation had protected thousands of clients. Sophie's relationship with Dean also changed Evelyn's perspective. Her daughter had not needed another expensive tutor. She needed someone patient enough to understand how she thought. Dean never made Sophie feel embarrassed when she made mistakes. He taught her that difficult problems became manageable when approached one careful step daily. One Saturday, Evelyn invited Dean and his son Caleb to dinner at her home. They spoke without titles or corporate pressure. Evelyn admitted she had spent years believing success meant building something nobody could take away. Dean smiled and said, "Sometimes success means building people who can stand without you." Months later, Meridian introduced scholarships for employees' children and created a mentorship program inspired by Dean's teaching methods. Evelyn offered Dean a senior security advisory position, but he accepted only part-time so he could remain involved with his children. Sophie continued studying mathematics, proudly becoming a confident problem solver too.